When the Human Torch and Captain America come face to face with a ghost from World War II past, will it end up shattering the confidence of the Star-Spangled Man? Well, let's hop into the pages of the Ultimates issue number 10 and find out together, shall we? So then, as we join the book, we are treated to a flashback had by Jim Hammond, the original Human Torch. What's he thinking about today? Oh, just the day he murdered Hitler with his bare hands and burnt him up like a bratwurst in the air fryer. Obviously, the other members of the Ultimates team have questions. Hey, did that really happen? Only for Jim to go, oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. I actually pissed off the Soviets by doing it. So we had to concoct the whole, oh yeah, he took his own life at the 11th hour story. The next question that follows, geez, Human Torch, how did it feel to actually do in Der Fuhrer? And you know what? Jim's answer might very well be one of the best things I've read in a comic book in a long time. He basically says as an older type of android, he regularly has to purge his memories so he doesn't lock up. And over the years, he's had to say goodbye to some really good memories, friends, war buddies, learning to play the piano, his own creator, Dr. Horton. But as far as killing Hitler goes, oh no, the Human Torch loves to keep that memory around. In fact, he revisits it in 4K quality quite regularly. It's right around here Captain America has to tell his old invader buddy to stop reminiscing about killing Nazis because today they have to go kill some Nazis. In fact, today's mission sees the fully assembled Ultimates team taking on a place called Castletown, which is, get this, a separatist militia stronghold in the middle of the American territories, owned and operated by a group calling themselves the Red Skulls, obviously modeled after the World War II super soldier, Nazi, and Captain America villain of the same name. Well, they take their name from Johann Schmidt, but their logo and general aesthetic, that all comes from the Punisher, Frank Castle, who in this world we learn was a renegade 70s cop, who went on a killing spree back in the 70s before being stopped. Jim Hammond, the Human Torch, uses his computer brain to research these guys while they stealthily infiltrate the facility, and he comes to the understanding that the Red Skull's ideology is pretty stupid and also very contradictory. You might also be asking yourself, how the hell does this heavily armed neo-Nazi separatist army operate in the middle of America when the Maker and his council have gone out of their way to stomp out all and any resistance to their rule? Well, the answer is the same reason why our heroes are going so stealthily. You see, it's not just the Red Skulls, it's also their wives and children, who all live in Castletown basically as the group's human shield. This is also the home to the group's leader, a villain going by the name of Grand Skull. Hey, get it, like Grand Wizard? I gotta admit, it's actually pretty fun to see the team who has normally been all about going in loud and full force having to actually reel it back a little bit and be stealthy. And because this is basically Human Torch's little focus issue, he takes the opportunity to talk about each member of the team individually and what he likes about them. But also some fatal flaws too, like how Ant-Man just can't help but second-guess himself time and time again, and one day it's probably gonna get him in trouble. Hawkeye's cool under pressure, and they also just so happen to be the first one to shoot in most situations, which can be good or bad depending on what they're aiming at. More than anything though, the Human Torch has to really opine on the fact that after so many years of fighting Nazis with laser guns with his best friends, the invaders, it seems that time has come full circle for him as he's now doing it all over again. And hey, speaking of invaders, as the good guys make their way into the Grand Skull's inner sanctum, they see he has a very macabre trophy room featuring a dead Namor hanging on the wall like a goddamn Billy Bass. It seems that the Skulls were using the dead former King of Atlantis as a recruitment tool. Apparently all of these different neo-Nazis love getting a good picture with it for the gram. Oh no, the Grand Skull didn't actually kill Namor, he was a victim of internal politics in Atlantis. In fact, the guy who is currently the Grand Skull isn't even the original, he's like the fourth. Human Torch is able to clock that this guy is wearing a mask that not only makes him impossible to ID, but it also manages to turn his voice into a subtle weapon of brainwashing. Yeah, he literally needs artificial charisma to run this Nazi gang. Naturally, a massive fight breaks out, and because Grand Skull is a coward at heart, he takes the opportunity to make trails. Along the way, though, him and Steve end up getting into it with the Skulls saying, when you break it down, the Red Skulls and the Ultimates ultimately aren't that different. We all hate the government, we all want to overthrow it, right? The only difference is that the Red Skulls are way better at recruiting, and they're better funded, too. And after all, shouldn't a guy like Captain America appreciate a good symbol, a rallying cry for people to gather around? I mean, why else would you keep Namor's corpse if not to send a message? And that message, believe it or not, was heard loud and clear by the group's #1 leg breaker, a man by the name of John Walker. Yes, that's right, in this world, US Agent is a proud Red Skull, who was indoctrinated at such a young age that even when he ended up getting Iron Lad's message about the life he was supposed to live and a super soldier serum for himself, he chose to take it to the Skull. Though, clearly John Walker didn't exactly get the A+ super soldier serum because the Human Torch is able to take him out by barbecuing his face. Well, geez, looks like we have a possible 5th Red Skull waiting in the wings in case they need it. And I say that because before the heroes can actually manage to apprehend the Grand Skull, he ends up teleporting out of danger, though before he goes, he absolutely shatters Steve's mind by calling him by his real name. Human Torch was also able to discover that whoever this guy is, he would no doubt probably be in his 70s, though they were never able to take off the helmet and confirm one way or another. Nor were the Ultimates able to confirm one way or another if the Grand Skull and the Red Skulls actually had any connection to the Agents of Hand like they assumed. Though on the upside, the good guys did manage to liberate Namor's body, and thankfully they are able to put an old soldier to rest finally. Though the question naturally then becomes who exactly was the Grand Skull if they knew that Steve and Captain America were the same person. Well, it would have had to have been another invader, and unfortunately the only other member out there is, you guessed it, Bucky Barnes. And so that was the Ultimates issue number 10, everybody, and once again Dennis Camp manages to deliver a super fun, super exciting, super interesting alternate Avengers story. I've always been a huge fan of Jim Hammond, the Human Torch, and honestly the Invaders as a concept in general, and it always broke my heart that those characters never got the love they really deserved. Here though, we have an issue that basically posits, what if Human Torch was like the coolest old guy ever, and indeed he is. This new take on the Red Skull is pretty interesting too. Obviously in this new Ultimate universe it was Wolverine who became the Winter Soldier instead of Bucky, but somehow he managed to survive and still became a villain anyway. That's all great stuff to chew on, but it's actually the side stuff that really has me thinking, Punisher was a cop in this universe, like that old Dolph Lundgren movie. I have to wonder, will we ever see someone take up a more traditional Punisher banner in this universe? Or, much like in the real world, have Nazi hate groups done too much damage to the symbol, and that's kind of the commentary they're trying to make here. Then of course we have everything with John Walker, the US Agent, which really has me interested, this idea that some people may actively turn away from the gifts that Iron Lad offered, and that in their attempt to create more heroes, they could very well end up creating more villains. I wonder. Overall, I think I feel comfortable giving this one another well-deserved 9 out of 10. The Ultimates is probably my favorite Avenger book on the shelf right now, make of that what you will. Hey there everyone, it's your pal Cape Joel again, and if you're seeing my face right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, and I'll always be grateful for that. Retention helps in this crazy YouTube game, and so does becoming a patron. If you head on down to the description, you can find a link to my Patreon page. Recently just redid all the tiers, a lot of cool stuff offering up there, exclusive commentaries, exclusive polls, behind the scenes concept art for Capes and Quest, that's the brand new D&D show I've started soon. Never been a better time to become a patron. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month and help the channel grow and, help me continue to deliver content like what you just saw. So I want to thank you all, and I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.